So I want you to think about, is your company or is your organization's culture inclusive? I did a study and did some work on this and worked with a lot of companies. When I was at SHRM, we did the world's largest survey on diversity and inclusion and looked at inclusive leadership. And one of the things I was able to do was roll this out through lynda.com and now, which is now LinkedIn Learning, owned by Microsoft, because this has become one of the key drivers of success in business and in organizations. Is that they're focusing on leaders, because when leaders make bad decisions, it impacts the company's culture, their brand, their ability to attract top talent. The thing that is keeping most CEOs and presidents and senior executives up at night, it's not just the fact that they want to grow globally, not that they just want to service all of their customers, not just that they want to have the latest and the greatest and innovative products and services. It's that they don't have the type of talent that they need to sustain the business for the future. So leadership has become one of the most important challenges of the 21st century executive. So I want you to understand how important it is to be an inclusive leader. Leadership has changed over time. As leaders, we all have biases. Everyone has biases, but it's more important for leaders to understand what your biases are, because every day you are making decisions that impact a person's career, their professional life, and even sometimes their personal life. So we all have biases. Biases have been taught, they've been learned over time, but they're based oftentimes on just what we see, right? That 10% above the waterline that we just saw in the iceberg. We look at their height. We look at their body piercing, their body art. Do we have biases for people who walk in and they've got tattoos? Do we have biases when we're interviewing someone and their hair is a different color? Do we have biases for people who have over-accessorized? Do we have biases for people who have a disability? Maybe they're blind in one eye. Maybe they're in a wheelchair. Maybe they can't hear as well and they need an accommodation. Does that then equal them out or X them out from being considered? So thinking about all of these impressions that we have in the first 3 to 5 seconds. Now, I can tell you, I'm going to out myself, because as I mentioned, I've been in HR for 30 years, and I used to run recruiting. I ran recruiting for 10 years. And I was focusing specifically on building relationships and building alliances and partnerships with organizations all over the country so that we would have greater talent pool and a much broader net that we were casting. But I can remember my own biases playing out. I can remember that if they didn't come to the interview and they didn't give me a firm handshake, and if they didn't look me right in the eyes, and if they didn't smile, I actually thought that was going to be a courtesy interview. You guys know what a courtesy interview is? Okay, we're going to be here for 10 minutes. I'm going to ask you a few little questions, and I'm going to excuse you. If you've ever had a 10-minute interview, it was a courtesy interview. But when you spend time getting to know a person, you find out that there's a lot more that's beneath the surface. Let me give you one example. I was reviewing someone's resume, working with a company to help them bring in one of their executives. It was an executive search. The gentleman on his resume had a lot of great experience. He was running call centers all over the country, had done this over 20 years or so, very good experience. But there was something that kind of concerned us a bit. On his resume, it showed that he didn't start or graduated from college until he was in his 30s. That was a red flag for us, because we were like, okay, you know the whole socialization. You go to high school, you graduate, then you go to college for 4 years, and you get a 4-year degree. So you should be graduated by at least 23, 24 years old. So there's something up when a person didn't start college until they were 30. So we were all kinds of assumptions are going on. What do you think we were thinking? Prison. Well, maybe he was doing tours of duty as a veteran. No, we didn't think that. We thought that, yes, maybe he was a slacker, living at home with mom, or maybe he was in prison. So we said, you know what, his resume looks really good. Let's use that as it's a red flag, but we'll inquire a little bit more about it. When he came in, very, very sharp, very experienced, easy to get along with, very approachable, conversational, had all of the outside and external and internal skills that we were looking for. When we started talking to him and we inquired about, hey, I noticed on here that it doesn't look like you started college until much later in life. Can you give us a little bit more explanation about that? And what he said was that when he was younger, he's the oldest of his siblings, his parents were killed in a car accident. And he became the one that did most of the care and nurturing of his other siblings. He waited for all of them to go to college, and he worked 3 jobs to help put them through college. And then once they finished, then he started. Yeah, I felt real bad. I felt extremely bad, like a heel. And we hired this person, and he was one of the best executives running the call center that they had ever had. People loved him. But he had skills and requisite talents that we probably wouldn't have gotten had we not hired this guy because of our own biases. These are the kinds of things that every day play out. And I want you to think about, who might we be missing out on? What talent might we have overlooked? Who might we be excluding from our teams, from the choice assignments, from new projects and new initiatives, because we have those biases that may not even be merited?